Guys, welcome back to the channel, man. Today we're going to be working on my 99 S10 Blazer. This thing is a 4x4. As a lot of you guys know, this is the only four-wheel drive Blazer I've ever owned. Now, we bought this with the intentions of using it for off-roading, kind of like mild off-roading. So for the most part, we're using this for camping and fishing and just kind of able to get down some trails and stuff. I don't really want this for any like serious 4x4ing. That's really not the intended purpose of it. It's just for us to kind of get outside, man. This thing has done absolutely everything that I have wanted it to do. We've went down trails and stuff, but I will admit that some of the things that we have done has caused this thing to very much so bottom out. Not only the frame, but as well as the wheels hitting the fenders. I don't know if the video is going to pick this up, but yeah, that's a little deformed right there. It's kind of caved the fender in a little bit here, and this is pushed up. Very unnatural. It's not the way it's supposed to be, believe me. Anyhow, long story short, I need a little bit more ground clearance out of this thing. So that is where Rough Country comes in, man. They actually have a 2.5-inch lift kit for the Blazer, and that's what we have in the box right here. That's what we're going to be installing today. So let's get this thing opened up and see what it is we're dealing with. Instructions. All right, so of course we're going to figure this out as we go through the installation process, but it looks like we got ourselves a set of front upper control arms with new ball joints, which is huge. This is a loaded control arm, so you got bushings and ball joints. Of course, all this, the associated hardware that we're going to be needing to do this installation, and these are actually caps to go over your ball joint to keep them all nice and dust free. We have our lift shackles for the rear, and then I believe this is all going to basically equal up to a spacer for our front differential. And then of course some big old heavy duty keys, man. Heavy duty lift keys, and they also supply you with all brand new shocks for the front and for the rear. But if I'm being honest with you guys, now I need to go ahead and put all this stuff back nice and safe inside of the box so I don't lose anything, because our first step is we have a whole lot of disassembly to do on the Blazer. We gotta get that thing all taken apart and get a bunch of the stuff off. Hey! Lift kit's done. Nah, I'm just playing. If only it was that easy, right? So we have got a whole lot of disassembly we gotta do on this thing. So as you guys know, the Rough Country lift kit comes with new upper control arms. So we are obviously going to have to remove those. We also are going to be removing the lower control arms, because this is going to be one of those while I'm here type of things. I'm going to go ahead and replace those with a new set of loaded, so that we get new control arm bushings and new lower ball joints on the front end while we're doing all of this. The shock has to come out because our Rough Country kit comes with a new shock. And of course, we're going to have to get the front differential completely out of there as well, because there's going to be some work we have to do to that, as well as install the spacer to bring it down some. So yeah, that's what we're going to do, man. Just get to work on taking pretty much all of this off. And the first thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and get this ABS wire out of the way, get the little stuff out of the way so we don't damage it. So the ABS wire and our brake rotor, our brake caliper and rotor out of the way. Pop our tie rod in and get our anti-roll bar off of there. This thing is a 35 millimeter. Now, honestly, probably should have taken that center nut off before taking the brakes all off, so we had a little bit more to stop this thing from spinning. But I'm going to give it a shot with the impact and see if I can get it to come off. If not, I might have to put the rotor and at least the bracket back on so I can wedge it with a screwdriver. Hey, you know, you're learning from my mistakes here. But we do have the brakes all disconnected now. Got all the ABS wires disconnected all the way up until this point right here. So now I just gotta pull that Allen wrench bolt out, and then I could disconnect that and just completely move it out of the way so we don't have to worry about damaging it. Yeah, then we're gonna see if we can't get that nut off of there without putting the brakes back on. ABS sensor out of the way. Try to put all the nuts and bolts back if I can, so I don't lose track of where it is they go. All right, there goes nothing. That boy coming out of there? Can't get the socket back off. Very nice. Now good luck getting that nut back out of there. Might need some double D40. Probably gonna need the double D. Give me that nut. Shout out to Easy E. Use the pry bar. What? Use the pry bar. It's coming. Slowly but surely. Boy, fits really well. Bro, give me the W40. Baby, come back.
Dang it, probably drop farther in there.
Alright, axle nut is loose and that thing is ready to go. I got the sway bar disconnected and I also got the tie rod ends disconnected. Up next, we're going to go ahead and get the shocks pulled out of our way. These are 18mm bolts, top and bottom, and they are through bolts. So you're going to have a bolt with a nut. You're going to have to get on both sides of this thing to get that thing out of there. Well, 3/8 drill ain't strong enough for that boy. Good Lord. Oh yeah, that thing is definitely blown. Good Lord. But I am gonna go ahead and, even though our kit did come with new shocks, I'm gonna put the hardware inside of these shocks so that I know that that's what these bolts go to. So later on, whenever we go to put the new shocks in, I'll just be able to grab the hardware out of here and I'll know what is what. That's crazy. Now, I'm not a huge fan of having to use a pickle fork because it kind of tears up the ball joint, you know? Well, the boot at least. But our kit does include a new ball joint, a whole new upper control arm, so that's the reason why I'm not too worried about it. But I do have a ball joint separator, but as you can see, well, I guess it would have fit in there. Never mind, it would have fit in there. For some reason, I was thinking this was going to be where the axle's at. Don't even listen to me. Everything's going to be all right. There it goes. So not only were the shocks both blown, but look at this. Upper bushing is blown. Your side too?
Yeah, my side was blown.
Both uppers?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so this is going to make a huge difference, man. I did notice one thing about this Blazer. The front end always like sags down. So it's actually sitting lower than what it should. Because I guess because the shocks are blown. I don't freaking know. But whenever you take off in this thing, you feel the front end like it raises up like my other Blazer does. But my other Blazer has trick springs on it and stuff. Moroso springs that are designed to do that. This thing, whenever you come to a stop, the front end just sags down. And actually, if you stop hard enough, the wheels would hit the hit the fenders, man. But you can see, look at this. This is all beat up. And you can see the marks on here. This thing literally lives on the bump stops. There's a bump stop underneath here. You see the mark. The thing literally lives on the bump stops. Anyhow, got the axles both out, got the steering knuckles both off. We got all of that stuff out of our way, so I think I'm going to get new axles, new hub bearings. Of course, you don't have to do this if you're doing the, of course, you don't have to whenever you're doing the lift kit, but this is some of those while I'm here type of things. I figure I may as well do it. I've also got brakes to put on. So we're going to go ahead and get this upper control arm off because the kit does come with that, but I think I'm going to take the lower control arms off as well. While I'm here, I should go ahead. While I'm here, I feel like I should also replace that. So I got new bushings, the lower control arm bushings, and a new ball joint, the lower ball joint. So all that stuff will be new all at the same time, you know. So anyhow, we're gonna get this off, get the lower control arm. I don't know if I'm gonna take the lower control arm off yet. I don't know if I'm gonna take the lower control arm off yet because the torsion bars and my quick jacks are kind of in the way back there, but we'll figure that out later. The next big thing is we got to get that differential out of there. Got both bolts pulled for the upper control arm, and these are those alignment bolts. This is how you adjust your alignment in the front. So after we get this all installed, just take note, man. Definitely gonna have to go down to an alignment shop, get an alignment done on the Blazer. But this guy now should come out of here. But while I have this all apart, I'm gonna make sure and clean these really good and lube them up. And then whenever we put the new control arms in, I'm gonna put a lot of lithium inside of here so that this stuff moves really easy. So whenever I do take it to the alignment shop, the technician's probably gonna come out and be like, "Thank you, sir. Most certainly appreciated. Goodbye." All right, up next, we gotta get this front differential out. The whole thing has got to come out. So first thing I'm gonna do is disconnect what I believe is the shift cable. Got to take these 3 bolts out, and then this piece will just slide off. You can just kind of set it aside as long as it's disconnected from the differential, because when the differential drops down, you don't want this to be still connected, obviously. 17 millimeter. Use a wrench on that one. Fuck. I don't know if that's gonna leak or not, but I'd assume it is. All right, now with the cable disconnected, you move a little bit over this way. The passenger side, there's 2 bolts right there that you need to remove. Did it loosen?
It's freaking through bolt.
Oh, those are through bolts? Alright, we'll have to get a wrench on the other side. I like whenever they're the same size on both sides. I hate whenever like one side is 17 and one side is 18.
Right.
You need some safety glasses or what? Yeah. Dude, I've done some mud bogging in this thing, you know?
Mixed with oil too.
Hey, that's rust prevention. Maybe a ratchet with a shallow socket right there. Got it. It just it required 4 hands, so I wasn't able to record it, unfortunately. But both of those bolts are out, and we do have a spacer. It's got to go in here. So we're gonna get the bolt out. We have 2 more bolts, I believe, that we have to get, and they're both on the other side, the driver's side over here. So coming over here, we have the upper control arms taken off. If you look inside of this little square right here, behind where the upper control arm would have been, so really to access that, you're gonna have to take the upper control arm off. But if you look inside of the frame in there, there's the nut on the through bolt that is holding our front differential. So we have that bolt and nut, and then there's one back here on the back.
And then the drive shaft.
And then of course the drive shaft, yes sir. Got it. All right, so that bolt right there is like the only one that is kind of like hide and seek. The other bolt down there is clear as day, man. We are I'm not gonna lie, this truck is filthy. I'm trying to show you guys everywhere there's a bolt to get this damn diff out. But Braven got the other one out, and those other two on the other side I showed you. When you're underneath the truck, you can see them clear as day. This one is the only one that's kind of like hide and seek. So as long as you find that one, you should be good. We've already got the drive shaft disconnected. So now Braven is basically laying underneath a completely unbolted diff. Oh yeah. Ooh. Get the hot metal off you. Alright, so this front mount right here, it's designed to where it pinches. It's got like a pinch function to it, but it also goes through the metal over here of the cross member. So now it's just going to be... So now with this piece off of there, you'd still be able to put it back, but screw that thing. That literally makes it impossible to take this out.
Weight reduction.
Yeah. Oh shit. There it goes, huh? Are you ready for it? Bro, all that just get this little thing out? I tell you, I don't even want to touch my camera right now. I don't even want to touch my camera right now. But good Lord, we got the thing out. So, well, if I can give you guys any kind of advice, if you're doing this for yourself, is just, you got to keep wiggling it. Because it does not want to come out. And 100% it would have never came out if we didn't cut that off. And then we went inside and started messing with the steering wheel, moving all the, you know, the pitman arm and all that stuff right there, and it just gave it just enough clearance, and it finally came out. So you just have to kind of mess with it. Be careful, don't crack your oil pan. All right, I got some stuff to get cleaned up, including that ugly thing. So he's getting ready to remove the keys back there. Really quick, I want to show you guys. If you look at this lower control arm, the torsion bar still has tension right here. So this control arm is solid right now. If you come over here to this lower control arm, and that thing is not solid. So I don't know what's going on with that. I know the Blazer always just kind of had a weird, funky ride, but I think maybe the keys weren't adjusted properly, or this one's just loose. That, with those blown shocks and everything, and the upper control arm bushings, it was a mess. Definitely excited for the after. Anyhow, I see washers flying all over the place down there.
So this tension right here, you see this on this side?
Yeah.
That's what holds the key and puts tension on it.
Yeah.
This tension right here, whenever you release the tension off that key, this is able to move. Well, this one has no tension on it.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
there's your rattle noise.
Yeah. That's probably also why I had like an uneven bounce. It felt like floaty, you know what I mean? Like it would bounce unevenly, but
I gotta take this cover off under here. That covers over the fuel cell as well.
yeah.
But the problem is that it's kind of resting on the fucking quick check.
That cover has to come off.
Yeah, or you get to these.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to reposition the quick jacks without wheels on the front of the truck. The last thing that we have to remove is the stock keys back here, because our kit comes with a set of lifting keys, and you're gonna need one of these guys. Well, you can do it without it, but this is just, it makes it a lot easier, safer, using a torsion bar unloading tool. So basically what this thing is going to do is, as you can see where it's positioned over there, it goes up over on top of the cross member, and then the screw on the bottom actually applies pressure up onto the torsion key. So whenever you tighten that thing, it's actually going to take the tension off of the bolt that you have to take out. I don't even know what all this stuff is called. I honestly don't have a whole lot of experience with torsion keys. This is my first time working on them. You need a crescent.
If you want to grab the sockets, all the different socket sizes, to bring them over here.
All the beautiful socket sizes. I was just trying to get a little mud on the tires.
See, that's what's holding.
Not on the underbody and the frame and the gas tank and the exhaust and my torsion keys and my catalytic converter and my transmission and my... Alright, it is now the next day. I am trying to focus on the front of this truck. The front is the most difficult portion of this lift kit. There's a lot more going on the front. The rear is going to be a lot easier. So last night we got everything torn apart, and then I went ahead and I pressure washed everything really good, bro. I had everything soaking wet and just crazy out here. If you guys remember, this thing was solid black. I got some actual aluminum to come back to it. Now, for the most part, like I said, I'm just trying to get it clean. A lot of this stuff didn't want to come off. I'm not worried about this being perfect. I just wanted to be as clean as possible. So we got all of the parts removed except for one thing, or two things actually, and that is the keys on the back. I, for whatever reason, cannot get those keys to come out. I think they are just like seized to one another, man. So this Blazer did come from, it's an Arizona truck, but it came from Flagstaff up north, and they actually do get a lot of snow and stuff there. And the family that owned it for a really long time in Flagstaff, so it has experienced a lot of snow and then hot summers and then snow, and then, you know what I mean? So I think those things are just really seized in there. I'm gonna continue trying to get those out this morning. That's my big goal for today, is to at least get those keys out, and then we can move forward with putting stuff back on the truck. Alrighty, so this is what I'm trying to do here. We gotta get this key out. The bar just simply slides into the keys. There's no bolt that holds the bar in or anything. It is the bar on the end of it is shaped basically like the head of a bolt, you know, and the inside of this key is shaped the same way. So they key into one another, and yeah, that's what holds it there. So they are like seized to one another basically. So I have my torch that I'm going to heat this key up. I'm just gonna hold the torch on there for a long ass time. And then there is a little hole right there that I'm going to try to use my air hammer, and hopefully that gets us somewhere. I've also got some, I've only got WD-40 right now. I don't have any like penetrating oil, but you know, something's better than nothing, I guess. This side, I'm going to try to do the exact same thing, but the difference with this side is we have the gas tank in the way, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get my air hammer straight with that or not, but I'm gonna try. For whatever reason, I'm deciding to do the easy side first because I just want to see if this is gonna work. Alright, it actually moved this time, but it only moved the distance that my air hammer will fit into that hole. So now I gotta try to hammer it the rest of the way out. Hopefully, if I got something that'll fit in here. Alright, watch out. Incoming key. That is very hot. Woo! Hot keys, hot keys. Good Lord. Alright, now the hard side. Alright. We did it once. Can we do it twice? Oh yeah, that moved. Woo, hotkey, 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 coming in. You go out there, buddy. Whew. Yeah. If I can do it once, I can do it twice. Alright, so I figured since I have this stuff off the truck, I may as well, right now while I have it all taken apart, kind of clean it up and put some paint on some things, make it look a little bit nicer, you know? Like, I know you're not going to see most of this whenever it's on the truck, of course, but at least, you know, whenever I do take it apart, it'll look nice, and it'll also clean up a lot better than what it does now. All right, got these things primered. I use this flat red primer first, and then I hit it with the white primer because I'm going to be painting all this stuff white. It's going to be a lot easier to cover white primer than what it is that brown primer, you know? Anyhow, I got some white paint mixed up inside of my gun. So I am going to be spraying this with a polyurethane, basically an automotive polyurethane 3-part paint. This has a hardener and stuff in it, so it's a little bit stronger than like if I was to spray paint it, you know what I mean? Anyhow, we're going to go ahead and shoot this stuff really quick, and then I still have a couple of other things. Oh, we're going to do the frame next. You guys kind of got blasted. Whoops. All right, got the frame hit with a really quick coat of primer. Dude, this isn't to be perfect or to be a show truck or anything, but it does kind of drive me nuts, like whenever you see the Blazer from a little bit of a distance and like you can see the frame really well underneath this thing. And it just has that rusted look to it, you know? So I'm just doing this to kind of freshen it up a little bit. You know, from 5 feet away, it's gonna look mint. All right, so to complement the lift that we're installing on the Blazer, I went and picked up a bunch of new parts, man. We have brand new axles for the front. We have our hub bearings that come with new ABS sensors and everything. So we'll have new hub bearings, new axles. This is the front brakes, rear brakes, brake pads. And we've also got ourselves a new set of lower control arms. So we need to get these ones caught up to our rough country control arms. So we got brand new upper control arms with the lift kit, and I decided I want to go ahead and replace the lower control arms while we're at it. A set of loaded lower control arms. So we have new bushings and new ball joints. All right, so we got all this sprayed last night. It's had plenty enough time to dry. I went ahead and I sprayed the cross member for the keys because while I have it off, you know, I got it all cleaned up, made it look a lot nicer. The torsion bars I sprayed as well, just so that everything everything underneath there as far as the suspension, it just has like a, you know, somebody's been there and it's been altered kind of look to it. I don't know. It's just gonna stand out a little bit, make it look a little custom. I don't know if this was kind of ricer in me or not, but I think it's gonna look good. Anyhow, I got the steering knuckles painted white. They're going to be a lot easier to clean no matter what, as well as the upper control arms from Rough Country. I think they look really nice and white. I got to get all this stuff down, and we're going to get the lower control arms strung up here because I got to get them painted white as well. All right, so we got everything painted today. Everything for the most part is ready for reassembly. Only thing left that we have to do before we can put everything back together is we have to cut this piece off of the front differential. So they actually have a replacement bracket that is going to bolt on right here, but it can't bolt on until we cut that out of the way. And luckily for me, they have very detailed instructions that come with it. So if you skip to the back right here, we have ourselves a nice little cut template. Alright, so setting this bracket up here, lining it up basically where those bolts are at. You can see this is a little bit crowded back here. So what I'm going to do is just take good old soft disc, floppy disk right here. I'm just going to basically sand that and shape it down. So we want to stay away from the vent. We don't want to weaken that. So I'm going to leave a little bit of mass right there in front of it. But we do want to take some of this down, kind of round it, make it a little cleaner, and then take a little bit of this webbing down, kind of round that, flatten it out, make it a little cleaner, give this thing plenty of room around it. I don't know exactly what kind of real estate it is we're dealing with down there, but I'm just going to take as much as I can away without messing up any of the structure of that vent tube. So alright, so I went ahead and I took this back off because I don't think I was supposed to have taken it all the way off the way that I did. But since being I did take it off, I wanted to make sure that the mating surface right here was all clean, because there was a lot of buildup around it. Whenever you take this off, the buildup can drop down and get in between it, you know, and I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to end up having a problem later. But anyhow, for the most part, like, the template is nice, but I feel like for the most part you just need to kind of follow the outside edge of this whenever it's installed, and just make sure that you don't get into that area, like I mentioned, where this vent tube connects. So anyhow, I got that thing down as far as we possibly can. I got this all cleaned up, I got that all cleaned up. So these 3 bolts down here are going to be the factory bolts. I'm going to go ahead and install one up here temporarily just to make sure this plate, well actually I'm going to just install all of them just to make sure this plate gets centered on there correctly, because it does have a little bit of play. Go ahead and tighten those 3 down, and then I'm going to pull these 3 back out. So this is where our plate, where our extension is going to bolt up. So there's a side that has these washers welded on the back. You want to make sure that goes towards this plate right here, because that's what's going to stand it off to clear this lip. And then they supplied bolts, because these bolts are now going to have to be longer because it has to go through this plate. I don't fully understand why, but the instructions show that you use these 2 standard bolts right here, and then they have a countersunk bolt for the 3rd one that you're supposed to use down here. I don't know if that's going to be a clearance issue or what's going on, because screwing this in, it is going to sit ever so slightly more in than what these normal headed bolts are. But this plate is not, it's not concaved for a countersunk bolt like that, so it's just going to kind of sit there. I don't understand why. This is in the instructions. This is how they tell you to do it. So I'm just going to do it the way they're telling me to do it. They're also telling you to use some Loctite right here, and I only have red Loctite at the moment, so that should be fine, because I shouldn't really need to take these off. And then they have a nice little polyurethane bushing to go in here. 2-piece bushing, slides in, well, 3-piece, slides in on each side, and then you have the little cylinder goes in the middle, and that thing is ready to go on. Alright, so getting this thing back up inside of here, that bracket that we just put on, we are going to be sliding that up inside of this little groove right here. So I gotta muscle this thing up, get that thing to slide into there, and then I'll just slide the bolt through this way. This is the one that has the nut that we had to get to through the little hole in the frame that's behind the control arm. But once we get that up there, slide the bolt through, that should support the weight of the entire thing. So then we can go through and figure everything else out. I know we have a spacer, or it's kind of like a wedge that's got to go between this mount, but we'll get to that once we get this thing hung. Alright, so I got both of the mounting bolts in on the driver's side. Now we have to do this passenger side right here, and they include a little wedge that's got to go in between there. So I was under the impression originally that this kit was basically spacing the differential down, in which it does come down, I think, ever so slightly. But for the most part, kind of just putting it, it's kind of just tilting it. And I would assume maybe for drive shaft angle or something. I don't know completely. I'm not the engineer here. I'm just following the instructions. So yeah, this guy is gonna bolt in there in between the differential and this bracket up here that bolts it to the frame. And they do include a longer bolt for the front where this wedge is thicker, and then you use the stock hardware on the back, and you use the factory washers and nuts. So the only thing that you need to change out is the one bolt in the front. So I got to get that one out of there, which it didn't want to come out, so I'm gonna have to figure that out, and then I have to get this longer one in there. All right, got this thing all bolted back in here, nice and solid, and I got the cable hooked back up. Now, I don't know exactly, I could look it up really quick, I just haven't. I don't know what sensor that is right there, but the wiring to it was a little bit of a mess. So while I'm here, I'm kind of cleaning that up. The wires were just completely out of the loom, and they're all covered in grease and stuff. So I cleaned them, got the loom back around them, and then I went ahead and I just put electrical tape over the entire freaking thing. So hopefully the loom doesn't come back off. I think it's gonna be a lot better. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out exactly how to route this thing now, because it's got to come from up here. I don't know, dude. I don't think they had it running in the correct spot, because somebody had messed with this before. I'd assume they've probably had the diff out of this thing before at some point. Who knows, man? But I need to route this in a way to where we can get down there, because they had it draping over the drag link right here, over this the steering. So the steering moves, and it would be constantly rubbing on this. So I don't want that. And then of course we have our exhaust manifold right there. So I have to be cautious of that. And then of course we also have the steering, the output shaft for the steering right here, which spins. So I need to be cautious of that. So I don't know. I have to get this all the way down there. Yeah, I'm gonna figure that out, and then I'll be back with you. All right, diff is 100% complete. So I got the wiring ran, and I got it nice and safe the way that I have it ran, with zip ties and everything holding it. It's completely moved away from any moving parts. I got the drive shaft hooked back up. All the bolts are tight, everything is double checked and triple checked, so now we can move on. So if you're just installing one of these lifts, basically you don't have to really do this step, because realistically you didn't have to remove all of this stuff. If you're not replacing your lower control arms and all that stuff, then your lower control arms are still on your truck. And your torsion bars are probably still sitting down there, along with your torsion bar subframe. The only thing that you have to do is now put the keys in that come in the rough country kit. So you got to swap out your stock keys, these ugly things right here, for the rough country keys. Me, on the other hand, I need to get my lower control arms installed. I got to get this subframe, and I got to get the torsion bars and all that stuff put back in before I can move on to that. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. And one more thing, make sure you pay attention. If you were to completely remove your torsion bars like I did, you need to know that there is a front and a back, and there is a left and a right. There's a driver's side and a passenger side. They are not the same. You have to put them on the correct side. So when I took these apart, I did notice that the fronts, they don't have a little lip on them. If you look back here on the back, the side that goes into the torsion key, it has a little lip on it. So I know this side goes to the back of the vehicle, that side goes to the front. So this side being the side that is going to slide into our lower front control arms. Over here on the end, they are marked with an L and an R for left and right. The left is the driver's side, and the arrow points counterclockwise. So you want the counterclockwise pointing arrow with the L for left on the driver's side, and then the clockwise pointing arrow with the R for right goes on the passenger side. Make sure you don't put them backwards. the lower control arms, torsion bars, keys, all of that is done. So moving on, I need to assemble the steering knuckles. We ended up getting ourselves some brand spanking new hub bearings. So yeah, I need to assemble the hub bearings onto there. And dude, I was going back and forth with myself trying to decide whether I should take the dust shields off. Going through mud and rocks and stuff, like I feel like the dust shields are potentially just there to get stuff stuck in between it, you know what I mean? It'd probably be better if it was just open, but I don't know. If I end up running into an issue with them, I'll just take them off in the future. For now, I'm just gonna leave them, because if I was to take them off, you actually have to cut this and you have to put that piece in there because it needs that space right there for everything to line up properly. But anyhow, leaving the dust shields on there for now. I'm gonna go ahead and get this assembled so we can put those on next. So a subscriber actually recommended I check this website out, and I did. A huge shout out to him for recommending it. Basically, A Premium is an online auto parts store. They have just about anything and everything that you could possibly want, but a lot cheaper than what you'd get it from, I don't know, like O'Reilly's or AutoZone or anything like that. I have actually had these sitting around for a little while. I've had these brakes sitting here for the Blazer since before I even got the Rough Country lift kit. But I knew I just wanted to do all this stuff all at the same time pretty much. So anyhow, I am going to have a link in the description down below to A Premium's website. I highly recommend you guys go and check them out. I didn't only order the brakes, front and rear brakes for the Blazer. This came as an entire kit, but I also have a whole bunch of stuff that we have to put on the cat eye. I actually reached out to these guys. I wasn't looking for anything for free or anything. I just reached out to them, said, hey man, I have a YouTube channel. I just came across your guys' website. I really like it. And I was just curious if you guys wanted to collaborate on doing a promotional code of some kind. And A Premium was on board, dude. They gave me a promotional code for you guys so that you can get a discount on your auto parts, man. So if you guys need anything off their website, go check it out, dude. Link is in the description down below. And A Premium is going to be giving you guys a percentage off of anything that you order using the DB Fams discount code. Check the description and see what it is. So we are officially just about finished up with the front of our Rough Country lift kit. So everything is done. The only thing I have left to do now is we have to put the shocks in, which is exciting. I do not have the sway bar hooked up right now because where the suspension is sitting at the moment, the sway bar doesn't even want to bolt up right there. It's sitting kind of low. I don't know, man. If you guys can, please put in the comments what you guys recommend. Should I ditch
the front sway bar. I know they have like sway bar end links that are like quick disconnect. I don't know if that's something that I can utilize on a factory sway bar, because I mean, disconnecting this thing, then what? Like, do I no like there's no way to really move it out of the way, you know what I'm saying, to where it's not going to get either hung up on the suspension parts or it to be sticking down, you know. Like, I don't know, I was kind of thinking about just removing it, but at the same time we use this vehicle for, you know, driving on the road and stuff pretty often. It's not just a like off-road vehicle for us. So but this thing does have front and rear sway bars on it. So I don't know if it would be fine just having the rear sway bar and then remove the front. I don't know. Put it in the comments down below if you guys have any experience with that. But yeah, like I said, we just got to put the shocks in here now, which luckily for us, our Rough Country kit comes with all brand new shocks. I've already unboxed them. It was all, you guys seen in the beginning of the video, they're all packaged really nicely and everything. But yeah, so we got some brand new shocks to put on the front, and I am going to go ahead and rob, I got all my old parts out here, I'm going to rob these little covers from my old shocks and put those on there, because we do a lot of like mud, you know, like we get a lot of, anytime I'm out off-roading and I see piles of mud, I like to sling it all over the place, man. So I think it's going to be a lot better having these on here to protect it from getting caked up with mud and potentially making our shocks fail prematurely, you know. Alright, so now with the front completely done, we can move on to the rear. The rear is going to be really easy. So we just have these lift shackles that we need to install. Come on, come out of there. So we got that. The other one's over here. So the lift shackles, and then these guys right here. So this is for the rear sway bar. It's just basically space it down. So there's two of those guys, and yeah, we got a bunch of hardware for installing that, and then the rear shocks, and that's pretty much it for the back, man. I have got the sway bar disconnected. It is just hanging there for the moment. We'll reconnect it after we get the rear axle lowered down. I also removed the old shocks because we need those out of our way. We're going to be putting the new shocks on, obviously. I have the rear end supported by a jack because now we need to take these bolts out holding the leaf spring hangers back here. They're all 21s. So I got to take all that hardware out, and then we're going to go ahead and lower the jack, bring this down a little bit so that we can fit our Rough Country shackles in there. All right, well, the back is supposed to be the easy side, man. Well, I kind of told myself that I shouldn't say that because I was going to jinx myself. Yeah, I shouldn't have said that. So this Blazer did come from Flagstaff. And if you guys aren't from Arizona, maybe you aren't aware of this, but Flagstaff, Arizona actually gets a whole lot of snow. They actually salt the roads and everything down there, you know? So yeah, you do have an issue with rust. Now, where this Blazer does not have rust, there's still some things that you can clearly tell that this came from a place that snowed, you know what I mean? And these bolts right here going through the leaf spring, yeah, that's one of them. They're completely seized inside of there. So, yeah, what I'm gonna end up doing, so I got that side off. So that side's gonna drop down. And this bottom bolt I think is loose, but the top one I cannot get loose. So what I'm gonna actually do is just cut the factory shackle right here. That should give me a little bit more, you know, ability to pry on some things. We're replacing the shackles anyhow with our rough country ones, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut that and see what I can't do. But really quick, on the side of safety, I'm actually gonna put a jack underneath the front of the truck. Is it gonna reach? Is it gonna reach? Is it gonna reach? And no, it doesn't reach. All right, put a good old 4x4 in between there, just enough to support the front of the truck, because the rear axle is actually a lot of weight, and right now that weight is being dispersed from the leaf spring in the front there and in the back. So once we disconnect it in the back, that's going to be a lot of weight not being back there. And since I am working on quick jacks, I don't want to risk the weight being enough for this thing to teeter forward. So always think about that, man. All right, rear lift is done, man. We have our shocks installed. We have our sway bar relocation brackets installed. We got our lift shackles installed. It's all in there. Now, I do not have the bottom of the shock tight, and I do not have the bolts on the shackles tight yet until we compress the suspension, because if I tighten it right now, then we go to compress the suspension, you run the risk of ripping all your bushings and stuff. Just to prolong their life, you want to preload your suspension before tightening things like that. I probably should have did that with the control arms in the front, but it is what it is, man. But before we can set this thing on the ground, we have one more thing still left to do. We got to install the A Premium rear brakes. Look at these guys, man. I'm actually really stoked to have new brakes front and back on the Blazer, and on top of that, they're also drilled and slotted. It's not like this thing is, you know, a performance vehicle in any way, but it just makes it look fancy, you know? It makes it look fancy. Plus, I don't know, I mean, it's usable. Help disperse the heat from the brakes whenever we're out going 5 miles an hour through mud. Note to self, whenever you are about to do a bunch of suspension work on one of your vehicles, don't go out romping in the mud just before. Well, this install definitely generated a whole lot of trash, man. Gotta fill my dumpster up. Anyhow, everything's done, I think, man. Like, this has been a project. If I'm being honest with you, I could have got it done a lot quicker, but of course, you know, I got all tedious and cleaning stuff and painting things and all that kind of stuff. But I wanted it to come out nice, man. While I have it all torn apart, I may as well. And then replacing the lower control arms, the axles, hub bearings, brakes, you know, like while we have everything apart, I think was just the way to go. You know what I'm saying? So now everything is new and just have that little bit more confidence in something that we plan on taking out in the middle of nowhere where we don't have cell phone reception. All right, so the only things that I do have left to do, I have to put fluid in the diff. I need to put the wheels on, and whenever the suspension comes up a little bit, I need to connect the front sway bar, and I need to put the wheels on the back, and whenever I set it down on the Blazer's weight, then I got to tighten all those bolts back there. So we're not 100% done, but for the most part, you know, for the most part. Anyhow, I'm going to put diff fluid in. I think that's the most important thing I need to do right now. And then we can put the wheels on, dude. I'm actually excited to see how much of a difference it's made. Of course, I still have to take it to go and get an alignment, but you know. And of course, she's a pumper. I was trying to figure out a way to use a funnel, but there's absolutely no way of using a funnel. So I have to sit here and pump. And supposedly this thing fits like 4 quarts. That's what it says. Anyway. Well, there it is, man. Like I said, it's not a monster lift, but it's definitely gonna give us some much needed ground clearance whenever we're out doing the minor off-roading that we do, you know, to go out fishing and whatnot. I believe whenever we started, I don't remember for sure, I recorded it of course, but 31.5 on the back. And we are sitting at 30 3/4 of an inch on the front. I think that the front was sitting at 30 inches, which now it's sitting at almost 35.5 inches from the ground to the fender. And if I remember correctly, the back was at 32, which now the back is at 34. So it's about a 2.5 inch lift in the back. I think we got about a little over a 4-inch lift in the front. I do have the keys about halfway. There is some more room to crank the keys up more in the front, but that, of course, that's just gonna make the front also stiffer. So I didn't want to do that. I don't really want to drive it yet. I need to make an appointment and go down and get an alignment, because the alignment is definitely all out of whack, of course, because we just had everything on the front end of this thing off. This wheel, whenever I sat it on the ground, was all way cambered out in the top and stuff. So I kind of mess with it a little bit to eyeball it and get it straight, but just pulling it outside right now, I went down to the cul-de-sac, turned around and came back. Yeah, the alignment's all kinds of whacked out, and I know it's gonna really tear my tires up pretty quick. So I'm gonna make an appointment. Hopefully I can get it in tomorrow and get an alignment. And then of course, dude, we're gonna have to go out and try this thing out, dude, see how it feels with all the extra ground clearance we now have. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please do smash the like button, and remember, check the description down below. Rough Country's link will be in there. They have a lot of lift kits for many different trucks, man. Honestly, they're the only company I was able to find that had a lift kit for the S10 still. So if you guys do have an S10 and you're looking to lift it, I genuinely believe that Rough Country is just about the only company that you're gonna find that has one for you. But anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and close this one out. Check the links in the description. Peace out, guys, and we will see you on the next one.